and thank you for watching The Forum. I'm your host, Ashley Tate, here with my co-host, Christy Largent. And today we're going to be speaking with some people that are just doing some amazing things in their community. And here we have Scotty Weston, and he is the coordinator and director for Olive City Agriculture. I want to make sure I'm getting this right. And then also we have Destin Fessler, and he's the community outreach coordinator. And I'm staring them in the face because I'm trying to make sure that I get this right. Every single time.
You're spot on right so far. Yeah.
You guys are a great group. I'm so happy that you guys are here. So we want to hear a little bit about what Olive City Agriculture is.
Well, Olive City Agriculture Nature Center is a ranch that is basically out there to educate folks about conservation and land stewardship, but also remind them where their food comes from. So there's two components of this piece of property. One is basically driven towards the environmental side of it, and the other is towards the agricultural side of it. So we're trying to show how both types of lands are equally as important. Mm-hmm. So we do have lands on the ranch that's in a conservation easement with NRCS, Natural Resource Conservation Services, which is in a perpetual land easement, so there can never be farmed, built on, what have you. So we have manipulated the ground to try to bring it back as close to native as possible. We manipulated the soil. We moved 88,000 yards of dirt to create 70 acres of wetlands for migratory waterfowl and migratory shorebirds. We have also planted 116 acres of native grasses and forbs after eradicating the non-native plant species that were on the property to create upland wildlife habitat.
I just waited 1 second here. Okay. Scotty, I want you to go back and just explain what native means, just for people who may not know anything about, you got to bring this way down.
Okay.
Because he's talking and I'm like, wait a minute. Okay.
Well, the native plant species that we have reintroduced were plant species that were there at one particular time in the past prior to non-native plant species being introduced to this area, whether it was on accident or not.
Okay.
And most of those plant species are annuals. And they are very aggressive, and most of them are invasive. And so what they do is they actually choke out the perennial grasses and forbs, which are generally your natives.
That are supposed to be, they naturally come up on their own. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And it was really a challenge for us. We were funded by NRCS. Taxpayers' money went into this project.
Yes.
So we spent about 2 years trying to eradicate the non-native plant species. And some of that was through chemical treatment. Some of it was through burning, some of it was mechanical treatment like disking and chiseling. And we still have a big challenge with the annuals trying to choke out our natives because the perennials work on their root system prior to working on their vegetation side. So we are finding that using livestock grazing to go in there and eradicate what we don't want builds healthier lands to allow the natives to grow up. Now, if you do overgraze, of course, you can damage the native plants, which is one of the challenges that we've had years and years ago of why a lot of these have been depleted. But livestock actually complements these new plantings because it helps eradicate the annuals and the non-natives. They don't really particularly care to eat the perennials as much as they do
That's good to know.
the annuals.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, how do they know?
So they're a great tool. There's a lot of vernal pools in the country. A lot of our rangeland, which we're rapidly losing because it's going into orchards and what have you. A lot of this rangeland has vernal pools in it. And
what are vernal pools?
Now, vernal pools are a...
I am not an ag person at all. I need to know what this is.
So a vernal pool is a seasonal wetland, generally a low depression in the ground of non-permeable ground or semi-non-permeable, and they collect water and hold them for a short period of time, and there's only certain invertebrates species that are able to live in them, and there is also only certain plant species that live in them. The annual grasses come and actually choke out the natives, and as the annuals come in and grow and ret, they create high nitrate levels, which do not allow the...
Scotty?
Okay, so if you're thinking a vernal pool, can I give a quick illustration? If you're in Redding, up by the old North Valley Baptist Church on Hartnell, if you remember where the Shasta Bible College is, they back up to a huge vernal pool area.
Okay.
And in the springtime, well, in the winter you see water and it looks like a beautiful lake. And then in the spring, it starts drying out, and that's when all the wildflowers pop up.
Okay.
Right? And then in the summer, it just looks like a cracked mess, and you think, oh, why don't we just get rid of that and put a building there or something? But they're actually protected. Thankfully, and so it can never be built on. And it sounds like you've got that going on. So we got all this technical stuff happening. Plus, I think you have a lot of programs for people, not just plants and animals.
No,
so why don't you tell us, you want to tell us a little bit about some of the programs?
No problem. So right now we do shoots with foundations that come out for combat veterans. Myself, I was 8 years active duty, so I touch bases with a lot of the military folks around. They travel out, they do skeet shoots. We just did a past dove hunt.
Oh, that's awesome.
They came out, they were there for a couple of nights, opening day. They loved it. Throughout the dove season, they came back out. And then we were set up for, I want to say, we're working with the high school to get them out.
Oh, good.
But they have Rogers Ranch, so we work with the elementary school. They come out, they do field trips. They're able to see the ag side, the environmental side.
So you're taking this opportunity to really teach about agriculture to the children, and then also in some ways recreational for veterans as a way to kind of deal with some of the things they come back from combat with. Is that correct?
That's extremely correct.
Oh, I like it. Okay. So how did you both get involved? I mean, this is such it seems like such a complex, huge issue to kind of wrap your head around when you're not in it. So how did you both get involved with this program?
I used to run livestock on this particular ranch, and then we came up with this conceptual idea, and initially it was just starting out with the environmental side of it, doing the reconstruction of the lands, but I was raised in the agricultural community, so one half of my family was farmers, one half of my family was ranchers, and I really, really appreciate the agricultural community, and I wanted to show how both the environmental side and the agricultural side was important. So it just continued to snowball from there. So the idea has, just continued to change over time, and our thoughts and ideas have continued to change.
Great.
We've had folks there from UC Davis doing studies. We've had folks there from Chico State doing studies on burrowing owls. We've had 4-H kids there installing artificial burrowing owl burrows. We are a big stop for the birding community. We have actually folks that have showed up as far as from Bozeman, Montana.
Wow.
Because we are one of the better spots in Tehama County for the migratory shorebirds.
Wow.
And we've had some species out there that are, I wouldn't say absolutely rare, but not witnessed very often, that draw a lot of people. One of our biggest supporters, so to get this land built back, there was a lot of partnerships. U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, NRCS, the Partners Program with U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and California Waterfowl Association. California Waterfowl Association is the reason that we are at where we're at today. They helped us get ranked with the federal government in order to put this into an easement. They donated all their time in doing the topographical maps, the contracting of all this reconstruction, and basically all of their time that they have put in this project did not cost us a dime. It was all from funding that they've got from donations and memberships in their organization, and they donate because they believe in the restoration. So it's really, really a neat place to come. We ran about 600 school students through there last year on environmental tours, and some on agricultural. The ranch is so large that by the time we get done with the environmental side of it, they are pooped and don't want to. They don't really want to go up. And most of them are from Tehama County. We want to expand to other counties this year, but most of the kids are from Tehama County, so they're pretty familiar with the agricultural side of it.
So I'm gathering that you're a nonprofit. Is that correct? Okay. And then, so how did you get involved with the program? Because you're coming from the vet side.
So my family started this, and with Scotty helping them, when I got out, I'm like, okay, I see where they're going. And last winter was the first time I've actually been involved. And seeing the reaction that the students had, the vets had, got me super involved with it to where I'm like, let's go, let's keep it running.
Yeah. Okay, so you got a fire and a passion for it. Okay. And how many acres are on this property?
354.
Oh my gosh.
So 276 acres are in the conservation easement, and then the remainder is in orchards and hay crops and in the future vineyard.
Well, that would have been nice to know.
Future
What are you talking about?
Wow.
Well, the trellis system is all in. In October, we're planting 50% of it, which is about 4,000 vines.
So we might have a vineyard here pretty soon.
Yes.
Yep.
I'll be down there then. We'll get that set up. I'll be down there.
Yeah, what's your ultimate vision for this?
Yeah.
Basically, I wouldn't like to say that we're trying to parallel Turtle Bay. It's because it's a totally different complex than Turtle Bay. But I really believe with the diversity that we have here that it'll be a good draw to get folks in. Eventually, we want to have farm stays where folks can come instead of, everybody's been to the coast. These folks that live in the cities and stuff, they might want to come and get their hands dirty and actually,
I think that's a great
get a connection with the earth and the land.
And stay for like the weekend.
Correct.
Okay.
And,
That'd even be great for camps.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be amazing.
So how are you funded? And in our last 30 seconds together, how can people support you in this endeavor?
Well, we've been funded by the F Squared Foundation, which has been the majority of our funding, other than the federal government. The federal government did purchase the land that's in the easement just below fair market value. And then they did pay for the reconstruction. But we do have folks that give donations that come and do birding and so on and so forth. But we're really struggling to keep this thing alive.
So what's your website?
Our website is olivecitycenter.com.
olivecitycenter.com. You can get all the details there, right? That's the best place?
Yep. And we also, we do fairly often, post on Facebook.
Okay, so check on Facebook. olivecitycenter.com is the website, or go to Facebook, Google or search for Olive City Agriculture and Nature Center. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with the second half of our show.
We are back, and we're talking to Barb and Mark Bolstead. They are the founders of the Hope Haven Farm. This is an amazing program. You may have actually seen their article in Enjoy Magazine, and it's very touching what you guys do. There's so much to get into, so I'm going to jump right in. Tell us a little bit about what the Hope Haven Farm is. Let's just start there.
Okay. It is an 8-acre farm with lots of animals. We have horses, mini Jersey, which is very rare in our area, goats, a sheep, dogs, cats, chickens.
Oh my gosh.
And we exist for the benefit of foster kids. And we have a lot of fun. We laugh a lot, and we've seen wonderful things happen already. I'm going to get emotional.
It's okay to get emotional, because you know what you're doing, from what I gathered from the article, do you bring kids in, all foster kids can come, or do they come live with you? How does it work with the foster system?
We started out wanting to do respite care, and then a need came up. I was in the midst of having back surgery, and I couldn't do a whole lot, and I was starting to get bored with laying around, so a need came up to have a long-term placement, and so we decided to go for it, and we've loved it. So we have a gal with us now who will be probably till the end of the school year with us. And then we also do other children who are involved in different programs to come out for a day and just play with the animals. We take the kids that we've had their siblings come and stay with us for a weekend. And so we've had lots of opportunity to have different children come.
And where are you located?
We're in Richfield, which is right next to Corning.
Okay. And then how long has this been in action?
In action, it's been since 2015. I moved in December 24th, right? And then they came, the rest of the family came the next day. And it's been in the process for about 10 years.
Wow.
I was working at a family fruit stand, and I was praying for some kids that were going through some stuff. And God gave me this vision of a farm where kids could go and just interact with animals.
Yes.
And so I just prayed for it for years and years and years and years. And then about 3 years ago, there was a number of things that showed me that that place that I was praying for was actually supposed to be something that Mark and I were involved in. Never thought that would happen. Fortunately, we didn't plan it, because had we foreseen everything that we would need, we never would have done it.
Overwhelming.
How do you afford a horse trailer, horses? How do you afford anything? So we just kind of dove into it, and everything opened up. And the vision of what I had seen was an empty field with lots of trees, and then the farm there. And we looked for a long time, couldn't find anything, couldn't afford anything. Then we drove to Corning. We got an offer on our house. The very first people that walked through our door offered on it, gave us more than we asked.
Wow.
As we were driving to this place, it's an empty field. All these trees around it, and the house and the farm. It had been in a family for 100 years. It was a dairy farm. I knew, I was bawling as we drove up the driveway. I knew it was meant for us, and everything went through, and they were so pleased to sell it to us so that we could continue on with this vision. So now it's a reality. It's happening, and it's wonderful.
It's for long-term foster care. I want to make sure I'm saying this correct. And short-term. It's really, really exactly what you said. Like, I'm here for foster children.
Yes.
So if someone was interested in that, or they work with foster kids, how would they refer them to you?
We work through Children First, which is out of Redding and Red Bluff and in other counties and all. And then also I've just taken kids that are foster kids, and they come and visit for a day. So really, if they want to contact me, I'm more than open to interact, because there's lots of research shown that horse therapy, really any animals, can bring so much healing to children.
So what are they? Do you have specific structured programs, or do they just come hang out and do whatever's needed on the farm, or how does it work?
Mostly just come and hang out and be with me and with the animals, and when Mark's there as well. Mark's
the
a full-time.
stalls and
We don't have stalls.
oh, okay.
Everything under the stars.
Yes. They can clean. We mostly let them learn how to tack up and ride the animal, and then we have other animals to play with that are all very fun. Our mini Jersey, Daisy May, is very fun to be with. And so there's a lot to do. We have a huge garden, and kids love just to go in there and make their own concoctions of things. They also eat what they wouldn't normally eat because they picked it. And
Sounds like a huge playground for kids.
It is.
Now, can the community come in and be part of what you're doing? I mean, are there just like days for visitors, or how do you do that?
We don't have that, although we did last October. We had our first year kind of celebration, and so we had about 75 people that came just to celebrate with us that we were open and that we were ready to go. So, but other than that, a lot of friends have come to visit and seen the place and walked around and played with the animals.
Yes. So you really keep it as like, this is not a place for just anyone to come and play with the animals or whatever. This is I love that you're very specific and you're focused on what your mission is.
No, it is a no profit. Only for the benefit of foster kids. I made it through foster care in my life, but before that, my family was very troubled, and merely my only good memories are from my best friend's house, where I rode horses with her, to Shasta Mall along Jana Drive on the side that didn't used to have buildings, and we would ride up and tie our horses and go into the mall and come back out.
Yes,
and those are all my memories. Her family was fun. There was lots of animals. So that's my desire for children, is to have a place to get in the dirt. We have this milk house because it was a dairy, but a milk house that our current foster child has turned into her playhouse. And so she's there all the time and plays with the kittens. They all surround her and just stays in there. Even when it's hot outside, she's inside because she just loves it. Or she rides her bike around.
What a gift you're giving back. I mean, that is really, truly something amazing. Now, I want to know how you both we talked about how you ended up here. But, I mean, what was the calling to do this? You know, I mean, now I know you grew up in foster care. Do you have a specific tie to this besides living your wife's dream?
when I first met Barb, I knew her story. She told me her story. So I knew the background that she came out of.
Yes.
And interestingly, my father, I was born and grew up in Chile, and my dad was from there too, but he was on the board of directors of an orphanage. So the children in need, kids being rescued and provided for was not anything foreign to me. I just never knew I'd get to be a part of it in something like this.
Yeah.
And Barb, supported me in dreams that I had for much of life, and that was living in Chile, working in Chile among an Indian tribe. And then when we came back to the States, knowing that she had this incredible vision and dream in her heart, she was thinking somebody else was going to do it. She was just praying into it, just asking God to do it. And then all of a sudden, seeing all these pieces come together, and I realized that this wasn't just a dream, it was actually who she was. This was something that she just wanted to pour herself into. I said, yeah.
Yeah.
So do you guys have children?
We have 2 children.
Mark, why don't you tell us about your children? 2 kids, and I'm guessing they're grown.
2 girls. Our oldest is 26 and married, gave us our first and only grandson so far. They live right here in Anderson.
Okay.
And our youngest is 21 and lives in the house, and she works full-time as a veterinary assistant and tech in Orleans.
Oh, perfect.
And they both have a heart for the orphan. And in fact, our daughter, our oldest one, went to Africa, Uganda, back when she was 15 and worked at an orphanage for a summer in Uganda.
Wow.
And so they're very excited to be a part of this, and they pour themselves into the kids' lives as well.
And Lydia has all kinds of help for us with the animals.
As a vet tech.
As a vet tech, she helps us give shots.
Yeah.
And she's going to plan to move out in January, and so then we can take more kids. So we'll have 2 rooms and maybe get some bunk beds. And
And this is the thing. No, I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead, please.
I was just going to say that Hope Haven Farm, it's not a corporation or a business.
Yeah.
This is just our house.
Oh, that's
we're not a non-profit business.
Yes.
This is just us trying to fulfill and wanting to fulfill what we believe is God's call on our heart. One aspect of it.
Yes, and that's what I was going to say actually. Is I was going to tell the viewers that what you don't know is you're not sitting here with us, and they're actually both teary-eyed, both of them. Yes. She was able to speak, but he's teary-eyed as well. and really, it's just you guys are just givers. I mean, knowing your background, you started out going to seminary school, and you've done all the things that you feel God's called on you for, and I'm sorry to get spiritual. I don't know if I'm allowed to do that or not. I just don't know if I'm allowed to do that on the show, but I'm just saying your background says that everything you've done is give of yourselves. And I think it's just incredible, and I think it was a great point to make that you're not a nonprofit. You're not asking for, not saying that you won't take funds, but you're not asking for funds. There's nowhere to say, it's a 501c3. And I think that's amazing. I think change starts with people doing things like this.
Exactly.
And I'm just floored. Like, you guys might make me cry too. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, don't you think?
So inspiring. Absolutely. I mean, we talk about, I want to do good, but these guys are living it and really inspirational for all of us. And I know our viewers are being inspired. If somebody wanted to help you, do you take donations, or is it, what's the story?
We have had a number of friends give us money that wasn't the tax write-off, and we have used it to build a covering for a shelter, for a horse shelter, all kinds of things that we've been able to do.
So is there any way people can get a hold of you? What's the best way?
If you look up on Facebook at Hope Haven Farm, it's tagged in all of our photos. Our girls love to take pictures of the animals. You'll see our darling grandson, Judah, as well.
Okay, Hope Haven Farm on Facebook is the best way to get a hold of you.
And connect
Thank
with
you
one of
guys
us.
so much for coming and sharing with us. What a blessing for everybody. What a great show today. Thank you for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time right here on The Forum.